This was my response to you. Then why can't you circumcise your baby girls? The clitoral hood and labia are the equivalent flesh. They have the same age-sensitive cells. Your response was, changing the subject, I see. This discussion is about male circumcision. Female circumcision is an entirely different subject where the definition of circumcision is quite different. Why are you avoiding the parental and religious rights issue associated with male circumcision? Is it because that is the place where you, James' position, has the least support in the public? If you have to resort to simply declaring that parents have no rights, you are going to lose the argument. What? Go back and watch my response to him. I said nothing about parental rights. I simply asked him, why can't you circumcise your baby girls? Again, you see the quality of this person. Oh, this is supposed to be to you. You're a douche. My response was this. Dodging the question, I see. This is a question about the fact that removing the clitoral hood and labia is morphologically the same as the foreskin. Female circumcision is an entirely different subject where the definition of circumcision is quite different. That's an opinion, not fact. Your response was, you changed the subject to female circumcision. If female circumcision involves more than removing the female analog to the foreskin, then it's an entirely different subject. Nah, I was talking about that part. So you have chosen a definition of male versus female analogs that fits your views. How surprising. The fact that you identify two structures indicates that you are talking about a more extensive procedure. Okay, so am I choosing a version that's analogous with male circumcision? Or is the fact that I mentioned the clitoral hood and the labia make it different? You need to pick one. But you're not, because you're intellectually dishonest. It's not different. It's the equivalent flesh. I was making a comparison. My response is, making a comparison is not changing the subject. I haven't chosen a version of anything. All forced circumcision is unethical unless it is proven to be the only way to reduce harm. It has not been. The fact that you identify two structures indicates that you are talking about a more extensive procedure. This sentence indicates how little you know about the issue of human anatomy as a whole. Pathetic. An ad hominem attack indicating that you have no sources or argument. Your response was, that requires an initial assumption that harm reduction is always beneficial. I'm going to read that again. This is what he said. That requires an initial assumption that harm reduction is always beneficial. Nobody is under any obligation to accept that definition. It is an unsustainable position in the real world. I don't care what you think about me or my positions. You being on the minority side are the ones that need to prove your case. My position is that as defined by the law, you are wrong, and until you can get that law changed, you can suck it. Prove there is harm, or you have no leg to stand on. Oh boy. There are so many things wrong with that paragraph, yet there are so many things right with it. It shows the depths of just bile that is who you are. Just, you're such a coward. So, basically, you don't accept that harm reduction is always beneficial. Well, why don't you accept the concept of why don't you reject the concept of anything being beneficial? It seems arbitrary to you. It doesn't seem like you have any standards whatsoever. Nobody is under any obligation to accept that definition. That's not a definition. You said it requires an initial assumption that harm reduction is always beneficial. That's not a definition, so you don't know what you're talking about. It is an unsustainable position in the real world. No, it isn't. Doing what you can to avoid harm and only causing harm when you literally have no choice? How is that unsustainable? In fact, it's one of the reasons why our species is not where they should be, or where we could be, because people didn't hold that basic ethical position. What are you talking about? I don't care what you think about me or my positions. No, you don't. You don't care about the truth. You don't care about any evidence. You don't care about this issue. You being on the minority side are the ones that need to prove your case. Okay, so you don't have to prove your case because you're in the majority? Oh man, you would have loved the days of the days where there were slaves. I bet you would have loved that shit. You were in the majority. You know, fuck everyone else. My position is that as defined by law, you are wrong, and until you can get the law changed, you can suck it. Real mature. And you called King Indian, I was calling him Klingshaw before, I'm sorry. You called King Indian childish? You just told me that if I can't prove that slicing off the end of a little boy's genital harms him, I can suck it. I should have just read your comments. I didn't even have to respond to any of your comments. You pwn yourself. Prove there is harm or you have no leg to stand on. You just went back on what you said. That last sentence doesn't make any sense. You just said we don't have to not do it because it's harm. That is to say, even if it is harm, you feel you have the right to do it. Now, at the end of the sentence, you're saying prove there is harm or you have no leg to stand on. You keep switching from we're right because the law says we're right to we're right because we don't define right and wrong the way you do, to you are all over the place. Here's my response. Why are you avoiding the parental and religious rights issue associated with male circumcision? Why are you avoiding the parental and religious rights issues associated with female circumcision? Is it because you know that there's no real difference from removing the clitoral hood and removing the foreskin, and thus you would have to advocate for both positions if you were going to be consistent? If you have to resort to simply declaring that parents have no rights, you are going to lose the argument. So claiming that parents don't have any rights to remove a baby boy's foreskin, then any more rights to remove a baby boy's foreskin than do they have the right to remove a baby girl's clitoral hood equals parents have no rights at all. If you're going to simply strawman things, then I say, strawman the things that I say, then you will lose the argument. And your last statement was, oh boy, the law says they do. The law says that they do have the right. You say they don't. Until you can get the law changed, you are just pretending that you are above the law. What? I'm saying I disagree with the law, and like anyone else, when you disagree with the law, you participate in activism to change the law. How does that mean I'm above the law? I think what they're doing is causing harm. The people who are getting harm caused to them, for instance, when you slice into a child's genital, they protest vehemently, and you're not giving them like a vaccination. You're just slicing off things you don't like. It is harm. But, how is that saying I'm above the law? I'm not running in and stabbing parents who are circumcising their boys. That you have a better way. Yeah, I do have a better way. Not circumcising your children against their will. There's no reason to do that. Well, we are not buying it. Who are we? Who are we? Don't you get that your claim is based on a tacit admission that you want to take away a right that parents currently have? Pretending that you don't have the right, pretending that they don't have the right they clearly do have in the eyes of the law is your straw man. Alright. You don't know what the word straw man means. Oh God. Beech Grove Joe, man. You don't know what the straw man fallacy is. That's not what a straw man is. um, we're not. We are trying to take away one of the privileges that parents have because we don't think it should be a right. Um, I don't know how else to put that. Saying that it's a tacit admission, you know, it's an exact admission. I don't believe that they should have the right to do that. That's not a tacit admission. Just like I don't believe that parents should have the right to have sex with their children. I don't believe that parents should have the right to hold their children down and beat them with chains. Chains. God, why do I keep saying change? I don't believe that parents have the right to tattoo their children. These are all things that parents did have the right to do. There really were no laws limiting parents' right to do these things. Now there are, and we live in a better world because of it. BeechGroveJoe, you are a dishonest cunt monkey. I mean, you truly are an awful person. You view children almost as slaves. You really do. You really see no difference between doing something for a child's best interest or like discipline as opposed to doing something to get your jollies off, to get your rocks off. That's scary, man. You don't need to be saying, well, you don't have parents, you don't know what it's like, because you're not coming off as a great parent. You're coming off as creepy. You almost think of children in general as slaves. That's fucked up. You know what? I'm done with you. For everyone else, I'm sorry that this video ran so long, but I want you to see the pro-circumcision side. Now, if you other pro-circumcision people have arguments besides the one he put, the AIDS retardation crap, it's... If the same argument can't be used to justify female circumcision, which also removes cells that are more sensitive to age, you cannot use it for male circumcision without it being, by definition, unconstitutional. You cannot have something that's legal for females when it literally has the same effect, or legal for males, but illegal for females. It has the same effect. It has to be something that's unique to either one. But that's not what this is about. You don't care. Even if it didn't have a benefit when it comes to AIDS, you would go the religious angle, and then you would go this angle, and then you would go that, because you feel it's your right to do whatever you want to your children's genitals. You do not. And in the end, you will lose. He says, we can suck it. Well, you're going to lose. The moral zeitgeist is shifting. Even if people keep circumcising themselves, little by little, it's going to become illegal to circumcise your baby boys, just as it is to circumcise your baby girls. So, I can suck it. Like, that I guess I should have expected that from you. That's so immature. Basically, what you just did is na 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 na. Really? So yeah, everyone, that's BeechGroveJoe for you, and Ustav81 or whatever the fuck his name is. This is... I'm sorry, I have never seen a pro-circumcision debater that had any arguments different from these arguments. They're all the same. It's... We want to do it because we feel we have the right to do it, or we didn't hurt our children. How dare you suggest that we did something wrong? That's what it is. You're cowards. So, yep. Until my next video, try to make the world a better place, and I'm sorry this was so long.